is the most beautiful time of the year. During holidays, we all enjoy times with friends and families. At the same time, we spend some time to learn something new. And today is the world of generative AI. So I thought I'll be learning something during this holidays. I'm going to share with you what I just learned. So during this session, I'm going to go over the domain registration, which website I use for registering my domain, and it usually takes longer, so I already registered that domain. I'm going to show you how I configure the DNS settings for that domain, and in that domain how I connect it to the DNS. And that once it is done, then I'm going to show you that in the DNS settings how I configured with my hosting. At this moment, for this particular learning and this first implementation, I'll be hosting everything on my basement, and that's where I'll be launching the web servers and the local LLM server that's going to run Olama, because that needs a lot of GPU cycles. So I have a dedicated machine that I built with NVIDIA graphics card GPU that had, so that it can handle the bandwidth of the LLM processing. So once it is there, I put that through the proxy manager. I'll show you how I configure the proxy manager. And for that, again, as I said, this is not a funded project. It is during this holiday times I'm learning, so I'm not going to spend a lot of money on this. So the proxy manager, I'll show you how even you can launch the proxy manager on a Raspberry Pi, which is just like $35 to maybe $80. So on Raspberry Pi, I'm going to show you how I'm going to configure the proxy manager. And once I configure the proxy manager, it is going to talk to the hosting as a hosting service, and then I'll be launching the web UI. This is going to be using Blazor, Microsoft Blazor. And once I have this one, then I'm going to also show you how I'm going to create an Olama instance that I'm going to use for all the chat related, or the chat GPT type of related. And I'll be using mainly two models. One is the Llama 3.2, that is for the regular as a tools, and it support all the large language model. And the other model that I'll be using for embedding purpose, because because this generative AI is mainly, as you saw the name, is for Ask Realtor, so it's definitely related to real estate market. And in order to get the right amount of real estate data, you need to use some generative models that actually work with the tools like Microsoft semantic kernel. And in order to do that, I have to also tokenize and vectorize those data. So that's what I'll be using, using another API, a web API, where I'll be orchestrating all these processes, and that includes the right prompts, that includes the tokenizers, that is going to work with the embedded models, and then also work with the vector database, which I decided to work with Postgres, because it supports the plugins for vectorization. So and that is now, because as my goal is not to spend money on the external services like Azure OpenAI, or like OpenAI API, or even Gemini, or any other like third-party services for running the models, I may not be able to use it, because at this moment you can see that Microsoft, or the semantic kernel, it is not at this moment is supporting the Olama. There is no proper tool support as of now. But I'm sure it's going to come. It is coming. It is still in a development phase. Eventually, we know it is going to be part of it. But because it is not there, I'm going to use my own code that is going to talk to the vector database and going to work with the prompt that you'll be sending, and then it is going to work with the MLS data, which I'm going to show you like it is how am I going to connect that. And then it is going to serve. So if there is a user who is going to, right now most likely you are going there as www.AskRealtor.ai, you will be going to the domain, and the domain then knows where the DNS is, and once you see the DNS is there, then it knows where the hosting is, and when the hosting is there, it has the proxy manager, it knows where that web UI is running, and that knows how to serve you. And when you enter a prompt, it is going to go through the orchestration, and then it is going to give you, based on the prompt, either connect to the vector database and then serve you, and once it is served, you'll be getting directly from the host. At this moment, the host, unless I'm getting funding, I can launch it from my basement, but that's where it is going to be running right now. And then I'm also going to show you how, in order to get the latest market data, okay, so this is the fun part. There are a lot of data producers out there for market data. For example, like, all different MLS companies, like, those are like Bright MLS, IDX companies out there, GS MLS, many MLS. Those are the data producers. Now, I will be running some kind of like data collection, some agents that is also going to be running as a Docker container, as a service that's going to go for each of these different data sources and gather the information, and that information it is then going to push as a raw text inside the MLS database. And once I have this process is also called the data collections. And once I have the data collections, then I'm also going to ingest that through the ingestion type of services, which I call tokenizer, or it's basically vectorizing all the data. So it is going to connect to the MLS database, as you can see here, and it will tokenize it first. Then after tokenizing, it's going to vectorize it with the help of the embedding models that we have, and then it is going to push that data after vectorizing to the vector database, so that when you prompt the natural language models, it is going to realize that you are looking for something related to MLS. It is going to go to the vector database, and using the algorithms, large language model algorithms, it is going to find the right matches for you. And this process is kind of like data transformation. But when you're searching this one, I'll be using similarities. It is one of the vector database functionality is based on the similarity. So I'll go through all of these, and once it is all done, which is my goal is to launch this on the day of the new year. So that's where this will be serving. And since it is an API, it is the whole modeling, or the heart of the system is developed using the web API. We can even launch other similar websites, just like AskRealtor.ai. You can launch maybe njhomes.ai or getmyhomesold.ai or anything. So these are the different so if you have any thought, or if you are thinking in this direction, and if you want to do a joint venture or learn something from this video, or from do something together, please comment and subscribe to my channel. So that's important. And thank you. And to make all these things, I'll be using the following technology stack. As you can see, I'll be using the OLAMA, Microsoft Semantic Kernel, Postgres SQL, and important thing is the Postgres vectorizing, that particular plugin I'll be using it. And obviously everything will be running on Docker, including the actual proxy manager that I'll be running on a Raspberry Pi will be also hosted in Docker container. And that's and then obviously the UI is based on Microsoft Blazor app. And as you can see my other video that is on the Playwright, I have I'll be using the same functionality using Playwright to use some of these data collectors. So, and most of the language is mainly C#, and I'll go over this technology stack. And that's pretty much, I'll be launching this one called AskRealtor.ai as the part of this whole learning, and hope you learned something from this. So let's start.